Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85. I'm back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. Today I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at my Toho Machine Chronicles Super X-2. So this was definitely one that I was, looking to get into for a little while now. So it's just unfortunately I've taken a hiatus from posting any YouTube content for the last 2.5 months or so, I'd say. Just for personal reasons. I actually took a break from all social media. So, but I'm just kind of slowly but surely trying to get back into the habit of things here. I will say though, don't expect me to be back to posting content as frequent as I was, which wasn't really all that frequent to begin with. It was only about every 2 to 3 weeks, and I'd say at this point it's probably not going to be quite that often even. So still going to be spaced out somewhat. So just kind of letting you guys know, just to kind of keep that in mind, like I said, and just kind of slowly trying to get back into the habit of things here. But nonetheless, though, definitely glad to be back doing this here. So, like I said, I was looking forward to reviewing the Super X2. I previously reviewed the original Super X for my Toho Machine Chronicles, and that's probably my favorite version of the Super X, but the Super X2 is certainly not far off. Really love it. Obviously, this was featured in the 1989 film Godzilla vs. Biollante, and just was really, really a cool super weapon. So nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and jump into the figure review itself. What we're going to start with is actually the box that this came with. And you can see here, just to showcase, this was from, they had 2 waves of these Toho Machine Chronicle vehicle figures. This was from wave 2. The original Super X is from the first wave, so that's why that box was different, if you guys have seen that video. But here you go, you can see the front of the box with the Maser tank there, which I believe is the Millennium era Maser tank. And I think the Showa era one came with wave 1. But you can see then, you can see this is the Go 10. It's not the Go Tango. This is actually the Go 10 from, I believe the film was Latitude Zero. And it was also featured in Godzilla Monster of Monsters on the NES, which, so I have a lot of nostalgic memories of playing that game. So I was glad I was able to get that. But you guys can just take a quick look at the side of the box there. And the other side here, with the Japanese writing on it. And take a look at the back, and this shows the other figures that come with Wave 2 here. Obviously, you see the Super X2, Maser Tank, the Go 10. There's the White Heron, I believe from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and the Sub-Satsuma. Very, very awesome. I got the full set of both waves. I sold off a couple ones that I didn't really care to keep, but nonetheless, though, so I do have most of these, and we will, of course, get into reviewing them at a later date. But anyways, though, there's the bottom there, as you guys can see, just with some legal jargon on the bottom, and that's it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the figure itself here. So, as you can see, the paint and the detail for the Super X2, it's done in this sort of military green, and that's sort of the main paint scheme for it. And you do have white for the lettering, the Super X2, and some of the Japanese lettering there, so you guys can see on that side, and then it's the same on the other side there, but the white certainly does pop against the military green, so I definitely do like that. And you got some of the other parts. You got all the paneling all around the Super X2 here in the front part of the ship. You guys can see all of that all along the sides as well, and of course along the back. And obviously you got the thrusters on the back as well. Nice little detail work. Very, very cool. And of course you got the little like scope, I think it was on the side. This could have been a weapon, but I'm trying to remember. I think this might have been like some sort of scope or something. You got that on the top, and of course more of the panels and the other outlines of the ship there as well. Very, very cool. And of course on the bottom you got more paneling, and then obviously you got all the rotors on the bottom of the Super X2. Now what's kind of sets the Super X2 apart from the other versions of the Super X is that this was the only one that was controlled via remote control, so there wasn't actually any pilot and crew piloting this ship. It was actually done remote. So that was certainly an interesting feature of the Super X2. But very, very cool nonetheless. So pretty simple for paint and detail. But I mean, obviously with the detail work, you can see there was a lot into it that was put into this. And it is pretty accurate to the way that it looked in the film. So I definitely commend them. These figures obviously made by Bandai, and they never skimp. So really, really awesome though. But again, just kind of look around. Oh, and there is a little bit of white lettering here on the front, D&G02. These guys can see that. Just nice little attentions to detail. So very cool. Now obviously it's being a vehicle, less no articulation, but it does certainly come with some accessories. So first thing we're going to look at is actually the base that it comes with, because obviously you don't really want to have it displayed like this. It doesn't really sit quite right and whatnot. But you do get this nice little base. It's pretty plain Jane, just this black base with the support arm here. Just a little peg basically. So you guys can see, and of course you got some Bandai China on the bottom, the Toho copyright information, 1909-2004, which I believe is when these Toho Machine Chronicle vehicles were released. So very, very cool there. And so essentially you just peg this part into the base. It takes a little bit of effort to get it to sit right. And then this part here, you guys can see the slot at the bottom of the ship, and it just pegs right into place there. And of course that makes for a pretty nice little display piece. So sitting on your shelf, that looks pretty cool. Now just to take it off though, the stand, just to kind of showcase some of the other accessories. So you guys can see this panel on top, it does actually come off. And it's the same on both sides, so it doesn't really matter the way you put it back on. But in its place though, you do get the missiles that rise up from the top bay here that can fire out. Obviously firing against Godzilla in the film when he was fighting him. Now, as other people that have reviewed this figure have said, I do kind of wish that they would have painted the missiles instead of just leaving them the same solid military green color. Definitely should have, used some silvers and other colors to actually really make the missiles pop a little bit more. But you can see all the detail work that went into each of the missiles here on the panel. Trying to do the best I can to show you guys. So, all right. And it is a little bit tricky, especially to get it to sit flush, but I'll just kind of showcase real quick. You just kind of sit it in the slot as best as you can. You could maybe do this off camera, but I'll just kind of show real quick. Like I said, it is kind of a pain to get it to sit flush. That's the only problem here with this, but you do get it in there eventually, and you can see how it sits like that. And then of course the other part here is the front bay that opens on the ship, and that exposes the fire mirror from the film. This is a really, really cool accessory to have. So the fire mirror is supposed to be made of synthetic diamond. What it was is it actually reflects Godzilla's atomic breath beam and reflects it back to him, and his blue beam gets reflected back in like this sort of greenish beam that this fires out. And it's really, really cool. So you can see all the nice little detail work. So you got this sort of plastic piece in the center to showcase the center cap of the fire mirror, and then of course the paneling on the outside. So plastic piece then in sort of clear color, and then you got like this sort of silverish paneling color. You guys can see all that. And it looks really, really cool. Nice attention to detail. And of course, they got all the lettering and whatnot on the sides. So essentially, for this part, not too bad. You just kind of pop that off. You guys can see the pegs there. And then here. And you just pop this into place. And now you've got the Super X-2 in its battle ready pose, and I'll put it on the stand just so you guys can see that there. So very, very cool, I think. Really, really looks awesome, and you can see the Super X-2 is ready to do battle with Godzilla. So very, very awesome. So anyway, I'll go ahead and take these off and put the stuff back on. Again, this front part's pretty easy, just slides on and off on those pegs. And then this one goes in pretty easily. And then there you go. You just put it back on the stand and you're off to the races. And I'll just move the accessories to the side. And other than that, let's go ahead and look at sizing here for the Super X-2. So let's see, I'll just leave it on the stand for this. Not too big of a deal. So you guys can see this done in inches here. So I'll just kind of leave it like that. And as you guys can see, it sits lengthwise just a little shy of 3 inches long. So about 2 3/4 inches or so, I'd say. So, but you know, a military vehicle, it's obviously not going to be too large. And if you're going to try to look at the height, yeah, it's not even an inch high, but the length is what really matters. And just for a size comparison, I, of course, have out my SH Monster Arts 1989 Godzilla. And you guys can take a look and see how they size up. And I honestly think that they size in pretty well together, if I do say so myself. So Super X-2, you know, it's pretty, you know, don't forget these super vehicles are larger, much larger than like the regular military weapons. So I'd say this is actually a pretty good size comparison here. And certainly if you wanted to put these next to each other on a shelf, they would really look great in my opinion. So other than that, as far as pricing goes, now that's the only thing. It is kind of tricky. These are, you know, a bit older, and they're, you know, it's hit or miss. If you look online, I would say eBay is the best bet to try to find this or any of the Toho Machine Chronicles vehicles. And like ones like this, you know, the Super X, Super X-2, I'd say if you're going to get them individually, from what I've seen, you're looking at probably around $40 to $50. I don't know that I would say that that's worth it, but if you do want to maybe try to find a bundle and get the full sets like I did, most likely you're going to have to go overseas. I got all these Toho Machine Chronicles vehicles from a Japanese seller, and I got a pretty decent deal on them. And the good thing was I was very impressed. The sellers shipped everything very quickly. I mean, they arrived quicker than some of the domestic figures that I've ordered. So really was no issue whatsoever. But like I said, you know, I wouldn't necessarily agree with the price, but certainly if you're in the market and you're willing to pay for these, they really are great, you know, great vehicles, the way that Toho Machine Chronicles did these, and really do make a great addition to the collection. So so I definitely do recommend them. I apologize if this video is a little rough around the edges. You know, like I said, it's been a while since I've done a video, and again, just kind of dealing with a lot of personal stuff right now, but certainly was happy to be able to get this out there today. But I would certainly like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.